Thanks so much, our wonderful guests, for the time for this talk show. So, on behalf of Intersex Asia, I thank and welcome everyone and our wonderful guests to our talk show series. Our talk show is scheduled for quarterly, as you all know. So, we already completed the first two episodes of the talk show. And the first episode of the talk show we talked about is engagement of the intersex activist in the UNS W69 session. The second episode of the talk show is about the recent policy reform in Kenya. We had, intersex activists, and they were like sharing their insight and experience in the first and the second one. And today, this is our third episode of the talk show A, and we are really going to talk about the intersex advocacy and intersex experience. That's the reason we have a wonderful guest from the Philippines and also from India. So the objective of the talk show is to actually serve as an educational platform that informs the public that unique challenges faced by the intersex individuals. That's number one. Number two is actually to highlight the voices from within the intersex communities, ensuring that individuals share their experiences and authentically. And the third one is to actually highlight a bridge between the intersex communities by highlighting intersectionalities issues. And the fourth one is also to learn the experience from others and also share the knowledge. In this third episode of the talk show, we will actually listen to the activists and also the doctors, their powerful stories of individuals passionately advocating for intersex rights in Asia. And also, we will hear some reflections and insights about the health summit that recently Intersex Asia, hosted in Taiwan. So we can hear some reflection insights also from the activist, whoever is there. So without further ado, let me actually introduce our guest, our beautiful guest. We have Jeff. Jeff, hi, how are you doing? So Jeff is actually from the Philippines. He is an advocate and intersex activist, and also the executive director of Intersex Philippines. And of course, he's also the board member of Intersex Asia. So welcome, Jeff, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Salvan.
So we also have Dr. Emmy. So Dr. Emmy, you're so beautiful today, like me. So Dr. Emmy Lopez is the member of the Society of Trans Women of the Philippines. She is a former chair and a founding member of the Project on Sexual and Gender Minorities, a permanent subcommittee in the Philippine Obstetrical and Gynecological Society, which actively promotes awareness, inclusive rights and evidence healthcare, and for the lesbian, queer, and bisexual women, trans men, and intersex individuals among the OB gynecological practitioners and across other collaborating specialty practitioners. Dr. Emmy, welcome you to the talk show of Intersex Asia.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be here to Intersex Asia and of course to Sylvan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Emmy. So let me go to the third guest, Momo. I'm sure you all know who's Momo. I don't have to really give a very comprehensive introduction about Momo. Momo is like actively engaged with Intersex Asia for quite a long period of time before I joined Intersex Asia. But Momo is also intersex activist and is a molecular biologist turned queer and intersex rights advocate. They founded Intersex Human Rights India and also formed a platform that creates space, access, and upskilling opportunities. So, Momo, welcome you to our talk show series. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Salman. Hello, everyone. So lovely to be here.
So I'm going to actually put Jeff on the spotlight. Jeff, I mean, like you are an intersex activist and you are doing a fantastic job in the Philippines, and you've been engaged in multiple projects and also with multiple stakeholders in the Philippines. And recently I also know that you are kind of like, how to say that, engaging with the project of Intersex Asia, doing Intersex Caravan project, and also at the same time you're leading other project from Intersex Philippines, right? So
Uh,
basically, you can really talk about what are you doing in the Philippines and are actually advocating for the intersex rights and their well-being. Can you just elaborate that, Jeff? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Over to
So
you.
I think, yeah, thank you, Salvan. I think I'd like to focus more on the intersex rights awareness caravan because it seeks to bring visibility, inclusion, and participation to intersex individuals in the Philippines. That in the Philippines, as main like in other countries, intersex individual often face deep seated discrimination, stigma, and invisibility. And this inclusion is not just about social stigma. It extends to legal gaps that prevent intersex individuals from accessing their basic rights that most of us take for granted. The lack of awareness about among the public and even within the legal system means that intersex individuals often invisible in conversation about equality, human rights, and representation. So this invisibility limits our ability to participate in civic and political process. So why is intersex rights caravan so crucial? First, because the caravan is aims to raise awareness about intersex individuals and their rights. Awareness is the first step to understanding and empathy, of course. For too long, misinformation and lack of knowledge have perpetuated stigma. So this caravan seeks to dismantle those misconceptions and by educating the communities, government officials, decision makers, and the public about the challenges uh, of intersex individual face. But it is not just about raising awareness. The caravan is designed to empower intersex individuals to advocate for their own right. And because too often marginalized groups are dependent on allies to fight for them, right? While allies are very essential, it's crucial that intersex people themselves are equipped with tools, knowledge, and confidence to speak up. The Caravan provide that platform. So the initiative is focused on engaging with stakeholders, from policymaker to legal expert to civil society group. The goal is to advocate for inclusion and reduce stigma by providing an accurate science-based information about intersex individuals and their experience. Second is the intersex rights advocacy and policy dialogue. This activity involves engaging with lawmakers, legal experts, and civil society organization about creating legal recognition for intersex people. It advocates for anti-discrimination policies that protect intersex individuals from hate and exclusion and push for inclusive reforms such as in healthcare, education, and employment. But perhaps the most significant impact of this caravan is not the individual activities, but it is about creating a cultural shift in the Philippines where intersex individuals are no longer invisible but are recognized as equal partners in society. This is not just about raising awareness or pushing for legal reforms. It's about igniting action. It's about amplifying voices of intersex individuals and ensuring that they are empowered. It's more than just a campaign. So we at Intersex Philippines also lobby for the Kagandahan Bill, which Kagandahan Bill, if enacted into law, will allow intersex individual to change access uh, to change their first name and sex marker through simple administrative procedure because until now change of marker is through judicial process which is too tedious, too costly for for the masses intersex Filipinos. I just came from the Senate and yeah, one senator like assured us that she will file the version of the Kagandahan bill this December. So we're hoping that it will continue. In the Congress, we have more I think around 19 who co-authored the Kagandahan bill. So we are really hoping that this 20th Congress will be a more positive, has a more positive outcome about the intersex uh, what you call the advocacy here in the Philippines. Thank you, Selvan.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's very, you know, um, uh, like how to say the word, the soothing to hear about what you said about the project and about the bill. Especially, I'm very pleasure or very happy to hear how you said about the project, the line, igniting action, amplifying voices, and it is just not the campaign; it's more than the campaign. Thank you so much for highlighting that. I wish you all the good luck for this bill in December. So now I really want to go to Momo. Momo, of course, I already said that you are an activist and doing a fantastic job in India for more than a decade, I think. You know, and recently you also attended the summit in Taiwan, right? So I really want to understand from you, and also you can give some kind of like insights. What was your experience and reflection, and also you can suggest some steps to the doctors or healthcare professionals. How to actually create a more inclusive policy which could include the intersex needs and wants. Yeah, over to you, Momo.
Thank you so much, Salman, for that. I think it's a beautiful question to reflect what happened in Taiwan, and I really, for the first time, felt very liberated coming back from Taiwan because the conversations, the way stakeholders held spaces as real people and not as data points. Because I think that is very crucial when we attend conferences or summits like these, is that we are all human, considered as human beings and not as people of, some value to some data or some person, you exchange LinkedIn and you just want to extract research out of them. That I don't think I felt that for the first time. And that I think itself speaks great volume of what level of research and care and consideration Intersex Asia put into gathering people and resource persons, stakeholders, and experts. And I think the kind of people that you also gathered in the space, I think you can call them as experts because they would also not create sort of a lens of how do I say, violence. This is very important when we gather people in, is that they are not igniting feelings of violence of, or saying salacious things and, igniting discomfort within attendees. So I think for me, my biggest win was that getting to speak to Dr. Amy, and other doctors and actually not feel that they were somebody who will not understand my body or will not understand intersex rights, and they really gave the vibe and aura of intersex rights are human rights. And that's, I think that's a win. I think I take that as a win for myself as well. I think it's very important when we talk about like intersex rights and like health rights, we are ultimately coming down on the same core principles of how we look at body autonomy, the self-determination, consent, access to dignity, the right to exist without social, medical, legal violence. So I think the idea of working with intersex rights and health rights are very similar on that core basis. So historically, it's always been that the movements have been separated. But I think with the learning that came through the Taiwan summit and declaration is that even though the struggles overlap somewhere or the other, they are still deeply interconnected in ways that we could not imagine that they were possible, right? And intersex people in the longest time, we know that they have faced a lot of non-consensual medical interventions that included procedures that were done for them without them being involved, and communities have resisted a system that often prioritizes the word normalization over autonomy, forcing individuals to surgeries, treatments, or as I like to call it, standards of functioning without informed consent. I think this conversation that we have sparked in Taiwan between these different movements, especially the healthcare movement, I think that is becoming a historical movement because it's sharing histories together. It is bringing people also through who have worked in this space, who have also seen violence in different forms. And they are also continuing to challenge those norms. And that's very important for the intersex movement, is that we have, as Jeff said, we need allies, right? So how do we ensure that these allies are working for us? Is that they are continuing to challenge the systems that they are working alongside with. I think I wouldn't say tips or anything that I have on the back of my mind, but I would definitely say that the kind of work the health practitioners, stakeholders brought into Taiwan, I think one thing that they are at a time tackling is to do a lot with structural discrimination and the barriers that come with education, employment, legal recognition, and community belonging. Now, I might step aside and say that they also need to look after themselves while they are fighting for us, while they're fighting alongside us. Their mental health also matters to us. And very importantly, noting that employment being a key word here is that while they are resisting these structures and fighting alongside us, fighting with us, they're also putting themselves out at social risk, legal risks by resisting these systems. So I would urge that every person who's working alongside intersex people and rights to be aware of their own rights as well. To know if an organization tries to unconditionally fire them or try to resist their work and backfire on them, then they have the support systems that are aligned alongside to sort of fight that injustice as well. That's all that I could share right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Momo, for sharing your experience and insights from the summit. Just to give the context to the audience, whoever is wondering what is the Health Summit. So recently, Intersex Asia has done this Health Summit in Taiwan. I think it's on the 9th and 10th of November, wherein we brought in the doctors and healthcare professionals from Asia and also the intersex activists from Asia. Thanks, Momo. Again, I highly note what you said about the allies. That's very, very important. We need allies. Without the allies, I think we cannot really exist, and we need their support to actually, fight for our rights in Asia and beyond Asia. Okay, I now move to Dr. Emmy. How do you actually felt as being a doctor working in the Philippines? And also, could you recommend a few collaborative approaches? Because in future, we need to really work with the doctor. So maybe you can really suggest some collaborative approaches, how to work with the doctors very comprehensively.
Thank you, Sylvan, again, and of course, Jeff, no, who introduced me to your organization. And Momo, thank you for showing and expressing your concern, no, towards the allies also. I feel like I'm part of the allies as well as the activism, no? As everyone should realize by now, I'm a trans woman, member of the Society of Trans Women of the Philippines. So we are in this together, no? The intersex community. Okay. So from my perspective, no, the way my take home from the summit was it is really necessary, no, for the intersex community to teach, no, the medical community, no, about their experience. It's really important because it's the only way that the medical community anywhere, around the world, whether they are readily inclusive or um, profoundly ignorant, about the experiences of the intersex community, it is the only way that they can realize, the humanity, of working for medical health or the healthcare, of the intersex. Um, this is similar also, no, to how we have started the advocacy for transgender healthcare. No, that the we could that's the only way, no, that doctors or specialists and experts, no, will really understand, what's happening in the intersex lives, their experiences. So it's important that we include them already, in our activities. It's the only way. And every time there's a collaboration between the community and the experts, somebody has to bridge, the gap, the understanding, because it's easy, for the experts to assume, okay, the misconceptions as the right, no, or the correct knowledge, because they always believe, that they are the expert, when in fact, they have yet to understand the experiences, the real experiences that intersex people go through. So I think the best way that we can actually propagate and further this cause is to educate, um, increase awareness among the medical specialists. For example, I'm already going into 8 years in this sexual and gender minority project of our mother organization, the Philippine Obstetrical and Gynecological Society. And we have always included in our awareness campaign for these specialists in our country. From the very start, we always emphasize to our listeners, to our to participants of our workshops, that it is really important, even coming from scratch, we have to start learning about their needs, about the inclusive healthcare that we could provide for them. Okay, so um, how can we collaborate further, with the medical community? It's important, that we focus, first on providing the facts, for them about the intersex characteristics. Okay, what I realized, earlier on when I talk about the intersex characteristics, it's part of the spectrum, of sex characteristics, and that's one very basic information that specialists actually miss out. No, it's just part of the whole spectrum. No, not excluding it from the male and female characteristics. It's what's in the middle of the spectrum, or right before the male characteristics, or right before the female characteristics. So we have to normalize that fact. First, we have to establish that it's really a spectrum of sex characteristics. And then of course we can also share, probably we can make some evidence-based infographics also that we can share, with small groups first of medical specialists, and then later on this can be rolled down, to the larger organizations, of specialists that collaborates with them. Now, we also have to make sure that we target unified healthcare protocols or programs. Okay, that way we can piggyback on the programs of the government also. What do I mean by this? What we did in the transgender healthcare, it was piggyback to the HIV. At first, the trans community was divided in their in considering in considering of including it in the HIV program, because it's connected to a negative thing, which is the infectious part of the HIV. But again, the funds and all the support groups, are easily thought about the cost of the transgender healthcare. That's why eventually when we started to divide it of far away from the HIV program, it's okay already, because they already understand, where the transgender community is coming from. That's just only one way of introducing the advocacy. So that's one important thing also. We also include not just training of healthcare workers, we can also include the Department of Education. Now remember, in our summit we also have educators, right? Now that's really important, because a lot of injustice towards the intersex individuals are actually triggered in school, when the educators, the teachers, in grade school, um, finds out, that the child has an intersex characteristics, and that triggers the chain of events, for that particular child, the stigma, the sometimes they pity the child, but sometimes they stigmatize against the child, no? Forcing these children, no, to not go to school, no? They get to be subjected, and that starts in school. So it's really important to also remember that those experiences, no, of these children. So I mean, Jeff, no, came from the education community, right? You were a teacher, so you know that a lot of intersex experience in the Philippines, particularly, gets to be triggered, no, in elementary school. So I guess what's important is we collaborate, no. The way we always collaborate with multidisciplinary specialists and even activists, no? So even including the social workers, we have to remember, no, the principle of no wrongdoer policy. So that every time we refer, no, to someone, no, they are already always, no, there, no, to answer the referral and not direct it to another specialist, no. Oh, you go first to the social worker. Oh, you go first to the pediatrician, no. The multi-sectoral and multi-specialty collaboration should always be ready, no, to accept and work, no, on individual cases. Okay, it's not necessarily a step by step when it comes to advocacy. Okay, it's not always a clinical pathway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of very, I mean, all the things, whatever you said about the collaboration
Yeah,
and also giving trainings to the educators,
yeah.
and also the medical professionals. It's not really easy, to be very honest.
Oh,
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, engaging in their activities. For example, the health professional activities. How do we engage? I mean, it's not really easy, right, Dr. Emmy? For intersex activist or a person working in the intersex organization, how do they engage meaningfully with the doctors or the medical professionals? Sometimes I'm not saying all the doctors, sometimes they call an intersex person just to tick, do the tick mark. They
yes.
don't really feel like engaging with them, and also in that kind of settings, the intersex person might not feel really, really comfortable because it's too much, heavy for them, and they would not really feel comfortable. How do we actually break that thing? It's
Mm,
That's the reason I said it's not really easy.
mm,
So anyway, I think it is for further discussion as well. I mean,
yeah.
intersex activists and also the intersex organization need to really think about this, and they should be coming up with a very good strategy to meaningfully engage with the medical professionals. How do they engage meaningfully, so that they feel like they are treated equally, um, and also respected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
And
really so much. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, well, actually, in the multidisciplinary approach, no, to managing intersex characteristics, like the first time that we deliver a baby with intersex characteristics, okay, we get to meet, no, the team, multidisciplinary team. I think at the time, we can actually invite, no, an intersex advocate, okay, for so that including the family, no, including the specialists, no, should be there, no, to understand the possible experiences that the baby can, no, can experience in its life if it undergoes or if it doesn't undergo, no, particular interventions. So that kind of approach, no, could be introduced, no, to the doctors who are actually right now are ignorant of how to manage intersex characteristics or deal, no, or approach an intersex characteristics. So, I mean, the doctors in the Philippines, particularly, no, they're really wanting. They just don't know. They will look for people, no, who actually had an encounter with the intersex characteristics clinically, and then they will ask you, "Oh, could you talk to the team, no, about it?" No, that's how they actually deal, no, with the a different encounter every time, no, in the clinics. Um, Not a lot of doctors will really be close-minded. Oh, I'll just do the surgery now. I know what to do. No, they will always ano, no, connect, no, to people who they think already had experience, no, with the intersex individuals.
Thanks, Dr. Emmy. I think I have taken this word collaboration. Collaboration is a key word from your, discussion. It's really we need to collaborate with the stakeholders and also the medical professionals. If we don't collaborate, I think there would be always a challenge. The more we collaborate, I think we can do better for improving the intersex rights and also empowering the intersex individuals at the country level and also at the regional level. Now, again, I have a follow-up question, but I will actually, throw that to Jeff because I think this is very much connected to what Jeff is actually doing in the Philippines. You talked about collaboration, Dr. Emmy. So I want to really, get some insight from Jeff about, how do we actually work together as an organization to amplify intersex
Right.
voices and to promote inclusivity. I'm not just talking about the stakeholders, but also I'm talking about the broad LGBTQ
Mm,
organization and movements. Because right now, what I think, intersex organization is working as silos. They don't
mm,
much collaborate with the LGBTQI organization, LGBTQ organization, and also other INGOs. That's my feeling. I don't know. What do
mm,
you think
mm.
about that? And what would be the best approach to work together? Yeah.
Yeah. Just like what you said, Selvan, I think working together in meaningful ways. I think a great example is of this is the Intersex Rights Caravan, which we partner with local LGBTQI organization to make sure that intersex issues aren't left out in the bigger conversations. Because I think Intersex 101 should be given by and taught by an intersex person. Yeah. So by joining forces with intersex and LGBTQI organization, we can ensure that everyone's experience are represented and that intersex people have a strong presence in advocacy efforts. This collaboration helps create campaigns that not only raise awareness but also reflects the shared struggles of both communities. As Doc Amy mentioned, education is a key part of this work. By offering intersex specific workshop and creating resources within LGBTQI spaces, organization can help clear misunderstanding and provide a deeper understanding on intersex experience. And the Caravan's partnership with LGBTQI organization, help us also elevate intersex voices in leadership roles. And when intersex individuals are visible in LGBTQIA plus events, panels, and discussion, it allows unique perspectives to be heard and valued. An intersectional approach is also a key, recognizing that intersex individuals often face multiple challenges, whether they're related to gender, race, disability, and socioeconomic status. I think advocacy should cover all these areas, focusing issues like healthcare access, legal recognition, to provide well-rounded support, creating space for open, honest dialogue, and offering tailored support networks can help intersex individuals feel safe and understood within the broader LGBTQIA plus community. Through collaboration, as we always tell, we can build a stronger and more inclusive movement that lifts up all voices. Again, lift up all voices and ensure that every individual, no matter their identity, feels seen, heard, and valued. Thank you, Selva.
Thank you. Lift all the voices. That's very
Yeah.
important. Yeah, I mean, I also want to highlight these things. I think last year, Intersex Asia, I don't know about the engagement, but this year we started engaging with the LGBTQI organization, and also other INGOs. For example, we started collaborating with Pride Bhutan. I don't know if you know that organization, because Bhutan is such a isolated country in relation to intersex. They never worked, or else they do not know much about the intersex. So we kind of had some meeting with the LGBTQ organization, and we kind of had some Q&A session so that they understand about intersex. So next year maybe we'll be collaborating more with them for any event or activity. That's number one. And number two, we also started collaborating with IPPF, International Planning Parenthood Federation. So we will be starting some work together, for example, research or else SRHR. I think we, as an intersex organization, we should explore more opportunities. How do we collaborate or work with other LGBTQ and other NGOs and, other stakeholders as well, so that, they can support us, because Momo said that we need allies. We cannot work silos, right? So that's the key word. So now I actually move to Momo. About your perspective, or your opinion, being an intersex activist, how can the medical community better engage with the intersex activists and intersex advocacy groups?
I think the biggest challenge in building that conversation is who are we talking that conversation with? I think I like what Dr. Amy said is that in the curriculum, when you add in it as a course, after an exam, they tend to forget about it. I think that's how these conversations are actually treated with, is that they are not treated with the idea that there has to be more conversations, because the bigger question here lies is, do I know an intersex person out there? Do they exist? Can I, from a subset of a population, can I point out how many number of people are intersex? Because when people Google the percentage of intersex people across the world, a standardized response of 1.7% shows up on Google. And then it says down, while you scroll down, it says 2.5%, it says 1.9%. So we do not have a definite data that itself to support, but there are conversations that are put out by other intersex organizations that say that intersex variations are as common as being red hair, or putting those conversations out. But I do feel in the research scope, while that gives an idea, it does not help the case, right? Because giving us a data point of where 1.7% where worldwide, are you talking worldwide? Because then that data becomes a little flawed question for me, because India is a large country, it has billions of people in it, and if you are saying 1.7% of percentage of the world, you're saying that is intersex, then I would assume that you're talking about India itself, because of the population being so larger in case. But the reference point there is of the global north. It starts with the US being the the entity of reference, and when US becomes an entity of reference, I think the bigger question is, how are people being raised from these conversations? What are health institutions, doctors, medical practitioners, policymakers, stakeholders? What are they looking at? Because I think US is such a has been such a big global health reference point for research, because it has powerful institutions within it, that they look up to US as being the the harbinger of reference points, and like things that set standardization code of action, I would say. So if the US says this is how it is, then the world is going to react in a certain manner. If the US is saying that, I think the 1.7% data is as outdated as 2002, because that's where I remember reading the last point, then it was that it was calculated. So what happens here is that models of pathologizing care becomes the norm, right? So as much as we are wanting to educate and bring medical practitioners, doctors, and stakeholders. The bigger question to ask is that whether those people that we are working with, are they looking at intersex bodies as medical problems, or are they looking at them as natural variations of biological sex? That bigger question is something that we ready to have that conversation, because that conversation takes a lot of labor out of us. That is a very demanding, laborious task to sit down. And sometimes it also involves people who are not from the life sciences, biological sciences field, sitting and explaining the same conversations that they would have studied anyways, or might have studied. I'm assuming that they might have studied. So I remember in my bachelor's and master's journey, we used to have conversations on chromosomal aberrations, because that's the term used. Intersex is, I think I was telling somebody, I think it was Farina uh, uh, from Germany, when I was telling her that, the word intersex is used for fruit flies in genetics textbooks in India, but is not used for people. The derogatory word of hermaphrodite is used to refer to intersex people. I think that itself shows us the kind of understanding even people in the field have, right? So the I would say that the erasure of this and this conversation itself is it's a very harmful practice. Not from a lens, because it is giving a lot of power to people in policy making positions in education, legal, and other backgrounds, but it is also protecting them from the scrutiny that we are trying to sort of put out forward and hold them accountable, right? Because we are not able to not let them continue from behind closed doors with lifelong consequences with the material that they put out, the kind of conversations that they are having. So I definitely feel that the starting point would be to look at the curriculum and have a conversation there, but also to have a conversation on grassroots level to understand why these conversations might not be generating the kind of empathy that we are sort of looking out for, because a lot of times when we work with grassroots level organizations, the kind of solidarity that we are looking for is a lived solidarity, lived experience solidarity, and that might not necessarily be there. And because that lived experience solidarity is not there, it often makes hard for different groups to relate to each other. The kind of oppression might be very similar, what capitalistic structure that they are facing the oppression from, but the kind of lived pain experience, etc., things that bind people together, maybe that's lacking, which is also the forefront of why queer organizations continue to leave behind intersex individuals, is because their bigger question is, who is intersex among us? Who's an intersex person? How do I know this person is intersex? How do I know they're not faking an intersex identity? This idea of who's a real intersex, who's a fake intersex, who's a real transgender, fake transgender, goes historically decades back together. I think that is another conversation altogether. But what I would like to maybe have a conversation is much more to do on the ethical aspect with doctors and other collaborators, is the idea of holding medical information, vital medical information, as secrets. The secrecy is justified by saying that your disclosure of this certain data will harm the child, will traumatize the child. When in reality, I do think that secrecy causes a lot of trauma, because the child is, sort of growing up in an environment where they feel their identity is not known to them. They do not know what is causing certain things. So people often, intersex people, when they are in their adulthood, that when they discover that their hormones were medically managed without their informed consent and understanding, it causes them great pain. It causes them great confusion, and it often comes back to the parents itself, because they were the first line of decision makers. Then it comes to the medical fraternity. And the bigger question here is that, do we have trained uh, you know uh, health practitioners and doctors to make the parents understand the latter part, that what you did was wrong, we advised against this, but you did this anyways, going ahead with this practice. So I think all of those conversations again come back to the idea of how empathetic are we with natural variations to begin with. But so as to say to what you also asked, I think to train is to, I think, build empathy. Medical education lacks a lot of empathy, lacks a lot of humanity. Medical education is what Satyendra, I remember telling, is what they're focusing on, is building the humanity aspect in medical students. I think also to look at from a lens that doctors are also very overworked, and the medical systems punish them for not being productive enough. Especially in corporate settings, it's another whole story altogether. But apart from building these conversations from doctors, we should also, I reiterate that we should look at community led care models, bringing in doctors, medical practitioners, medical students into this, where we are, also caring for them. While we are also caring for ourselves, we are caring for them for their mental health. And we might not know who among those doctors is also an intersex person. Maybe they also feel very affirmative to the way we are, having these conversations, and might, be able to sort of discover that they are intersex. I think the the resultant of this, I would assume and I would hope, is that doctors will, not will not sort of replicate, or medical practitioners and other people in the medical fraternity will stop or at least ensure that the harmful practices that they have been replicating as they learned decades ago, and as they are learning, they are, not doing these as interventions of standard care. Rather, they are, learning and being progressive and being better at being human first, and then doctors and caregivers. That's it from my
Thanks, Momo. When you said medical professional lacks empathy, I think you forgot. I think we have doctor in the room. So, Dr. Amy, Amy, we are not talking about you. So sorry.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So not all the doctors, right, Momo? Yeah, of course. You said
end.
that sometimes they are also overwhelmed and overworked. Maybe they are really strictly following their ethical code or the guidelines in their institution. That's how it is. So yeah, thanks for saying that and saying it loud. We need more support from the doctors and the medical care professionals. Um, so now I move to Dr. Emmy again. I think this would be the last question to Dr. Emmy. I would not bother you again with a lot of other questions. Dr. Emmy, you know that as an outcome from the health summit from Taiwan, we had two main outcome. One is the consensus statement, and the one is the committee of practice. That will be managed and administrated by Intersex Asia. So the community of practice is actually the collaborative platform for the doctors as well as the activists, whoever has
Activists.
participated in that summit.
Mm,
We will bring them together. It's as a learning platform
yeah.
actually to share their experiences, learn from each other, and also to build relationship as well.
Thank you.
I think. Now we are going to the closing segment. But before that, I really want to ask from you all one very short and sweet message that you want to give it to the audience and the viewers. I mean, the takeaway, what you want them to take away from this talk show. Maybe I will ask Jeff. Jeff, over to you.
I think the most important message I want to share is that intersex individuals deserve the same rights, respect, and recognition as anyone else. My experience, along with those of others like me, are often overlooked. But we face unique challenges that needs to be addressed, whether it's access to health, legal protection, or social acceptance. We must move beyond stigma and discrimination and work towards creating a society that values inclusion, visibility, and equality for all, regardless of gender or biological traits. That's it.
Thank you. Momo?
Yes, if there's one thing that I want you all to carry with today, it is intersex people are not medical mysteries, they are not silent survivors, they are not political footnotes. We are living, we are breathing human beings who deserve to grow up in our own bodies, to be supported, to be loved without conditions, and to be believed. I think when you make space for us in conversations. You make space for a world where all bodies can exist without fear, stigma, or discrimination. That's the comment.
Thanks, Momo. Maybe Dr. Emmy.
Probably as a doctor, I want to um, influence, or other practitioners as well as non-medical practitioners needs to accept, the normalization of intersex characteristics as a variation, in the sex characteristics, because this way, um, we will be moving forward, to including intersex as the choice, of sex of an individual. Okay, but we have to be aware also, that there are life-threatening conditions, that are related, to the intersex characteristics. We shouldn't forget that, while normalizing, the intersex characteristics variations.
Thank you so much. I personally learned a lot of thing from this talk show, from Dr. Emmy, Jeff, and Momo. I mean, I really note all these points, whatever you said in your presentation and in your speech. Jeff talked about engaging with stakeholders and also educating the communities. But engaging with the stakeholders in a very meaningful way, that's very, very important. And also
Meaningful.
engaging with medical professionals in a very, very meaningful way. And you also highlighted about the education. Education is a key word. We need to educate people and the community and also the medical professionals, and also building a foundation for change. I think that is also very important. Momo, in his presentation and in his speech, he also talked about having a conversation with the grassroots organization and the communities, and also sharing the live experience or lived experience. And also we need to build an ally or allies. To build a system, we need to really working with them. We don't have
Yeah.
to silo ourselves, otherwise our work will be not meaningful. So we need to come out from the shell and and work with the stakeholders and allies. um, Dr. Emmy, I think that's really very, very critical point. All the points, whatever you said, intersex community to teach the medical community, because that's kind of we need to really think about how do we actually strategize and educate or train the medical professionals. I don't know how, but I think we need to really strategize. We have the board member, please listen to this and please build a strategy. And also, you also talked about increased awareness among the medical professionals. Clinical practice guidelines are also strictly required. We also talked about collaboration, because I think collaboration is a key word. We need to meaningfully collaborate with the healthcare professionals, and also find the gatekeeper who has the empathy or the better understanding between the medical framework and also the human rights aspect. You also highlighted about the data, because data is very important. Without the data, I think that advocacy is not possible. So these are some of the points I'm taking away. And I think whenever we have meeting with our team and our board members, I'll be going to talk about this, and hopefully we can, build some strategy to really engage with the stakeholders and also the medical professionals very, very meaningfully. And also we need to do something to empower the community so that they can also engage with the medical professionals very, very meaningfully. On behalf of Intersex Asia, I would like to extend my thank you and heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Emmy, Momo, and Jeff for participating in this wonderful talk show. Your contribution have been invaluable, and I truly appreciate the time you dedicated to sharing your experiences and insights. This session, to be very honest, has provided me with a deeper understanding of the work that you're all doing at grassroots level. We will have another talk show soon, and we look forward to receiving your support for the upcoming talk show. Thanks so much, and have a good day ahead.